So a little bit of discrepancy on what is the best possible way to beat this LA team for Denver. But let's go to who they would be facing should they go back and beat the Lakers. I want to talk about this Eastern Conference Finals matchup between the Heat and the Celtics. So far, the Celtics have been coming out flat. Or not flat. In the second half, they have been. But in the first half, they've been getting out to big leads, coming in super hot. And then Miami sort of just chips away. And then by the fourth quarter, it's like a 10-point game, and Miami comes on the run and wins those games. What has been the main issue for this Boston Celtics team coming out of halftime? We'll start with Mike on this one.
Yeah, I think it's less about anything Boston's doing wrong per se. I think it's more about this Miami team going on runs, because when they put their foot on the gas, they become incredibly difficult to slow down. In Game 1, Miami went on a 13-7 run in the last 5 minutes of regulation. They got big threes made from Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler. In Game 2, they entered the third quarter down by 11, and they outscored the Celtics 23-11 in a span of 8 minutes. They took a 7-point lead heading into the fourth quarter.
I think you got to look at Miami's zone. They run zone better and more often than any other team in the association. They went to the zone 29 times in the second half of Game 2. They held Miami to only 41 points in that half in the victory. And look at this. In Game 3, Boston adjusted, and now they put up 60 points just in the paint in the second half of that game, and they won.
Now, somebody who's going to be able to attack that paint, a true multifaceted scorer, Gordon Hayward has now returned to the Celtics rotation, and it also coincided with their first win in Game 3. But I'm taking a look at this Celtics roster, guys. You got guys like Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, just full of talent. Is Gordon Hayward really the glue guy? Danny, we're going to you.
I mean, he's a 17 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 38% from 3 guy coming back into your rotation. And look at this, Eddie. They could run their best 5 of Tatum, Walker, Smart, Hayward, and Brown. That's a great 5-out lineup that I don't think anybody in the league can match.
I think if Gordon Hayward's healthy, he definitely adds another weapon to Boston's offense that the Heat need to account for. But the biggest difference maker I saw in Game 3 was the offense of Kemba Walker. In Games 1 and 2, he combined to shoot 15 for 38 and went just 25% from 3. In Game 3, he was 8 for 16 from the field and 4 for 8. He took what came to him in the offense, and he was able to take advantage of the Heat's defense.
Maybe it's time for Kemba to step up as a leader in that organization. But I do want to go back to that zone comment that you made, Danny, because that has been a great adjustment by Erik Spoelstra and the Miami Heat. And typically when you're thinking about great coaching adjustments, you're thinking about Brad Stevens. Now, granted, you did say that in Game 3, they made the adjustments. They're going to start attacking the paint a little bit more, sort of push that zone inward, and hopefully free up some outside shooting. But Brad Stevens has not been very impressive in the playoffs. Is he the issue for this team, or is this just players underperforming? Danny?
I mean, he's the coach. He's one of the best coaches in the association. I think he's just got to keep his guys, calm, cool, and collected heading into the rest of the series. They know they can play with the Miami Heat. They know that. So all Brad Stevens has to do is keep making these little adjustments, try and beat Erik Spoelstra in that game of chess. And if Boston plays up to their potential, I mean, they can win easily.
If Boston fails to make the finals once again this year, I don't think all the blame has to go on to Brad Stevens. I think you have to start taking a deep look at the roster at that point. Boston's built this team from the ground up with some smart draft moves, but if they fail one more time, I think you really have to look at some trades for this team.
This is the third time they have made the Eastern Conference Finals under the Brad Stevens era. We will see if they can get that elusive finals berth and where the team can go from there. But before we do wrap up, guys, both teams, amazing seasons, exceeded expectations, absolutely unbelievable. But who do you guys pick to give the best shot at taking home the Larry O'Brien Trophy to the Eastern Conference? Do you think it's this red-hot Miami Heat team, or would you say it's the star-studded Celtics?
Eddie, I got to roll with my South Beach boys, the Miami Heat.
All right, I'm down with it.
I think Boston has too many weapons. I got to go with them to take the finals.
Well, that's going to wrap things up for this basketball edition of Sports Beat. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thanks for Mike and Danny for coming on to the program. Sports Beat will be back after these messages.